All right, welcome to another deep dive. You ready to get into it?
Always.
Awesome. So today we're taking a look at Pineal Guardian. It's a brain supplement, and it's been getting some serious buzz online. I know a lot of our listeners are really into, that next level brain optimization.
Yeah.
So we're going to see if this lives up to the hype, if it's the real deal or just some clever marketing. We've got two main sources we'll be looking at today. First, we have this in-depth review. It's called, get this, Pineal Guardian Review. Does this brain supplement really work?
Catchy.
I know, right? And then, of course, we've got all the marketing stuff straight from the Pineal Guardian website.
Of course. Got to see both sides.
Exactly. Got to get the full picture. So let's start with the basics. What exactly is this Pineal Guardian stuff?
Yeah, what is it?
Well, according to them, it's like the super unique formula, chock full of rare ingredients, all supposedly designed to supercharge your memory and just boost your overall brain health. Oh, and get this, it comes in liquid form for ultimate convenience.
Ah, yes. Convenience. The name of the game these days.
Right.
But let's not get ahead of ourselves. Unique and convenient doesn't necessarily mean effective. We've got to look deeper, see what's actually in this miracle formula.
Okay, so let's get into the nitty-gritty, the ingredient list.
Yeah.
And it is a list.
That's a long one, right?
Yeah, it's a long one. They've got 9 natural ingredients. And some of them are pretty trendy right now in the whole wellness world.
Oh, yeah. Like what?
Well, they've got pine bark extract, which they're touting as this, powerful antioxidant. Then there's tamarind. Apparently it's supposed to have anti-inflammatory properties.
Interesting.
And then they've got the power couple of the algae world, chlorella and spirulina. They're supposed to detoxify your body and fight off free radicals.
You see those popping up everywhere these days, right? Chlorella and spirulina. It's like the natural nootropics are having a moment.
Totally. And speaking of nootropics, they couldn't resist adding the all-star, the MVP, ginkgo biloba.
Ginkgo, yep. It's been used in traditional medicine forever, but the research on, how well it actually works, it's a bit all over the place. Some studies show some promise for memory and cognitive function, but others, not so much.
Really? So maybe not the guaranteed brain booster everyone thinks it is.
Maybe not.
Interesting. What about some of the other ingredients? They've got lion's mane mushroom, too. I've heard that's good for neuron growth.
Oh, yeah, lion's mane. That's an exciting one. There's actually more and more research coming out about its potential for supporting cognitive function, especially as we age. It's thought to boost what's called nerve growth factor, which could be really beneficial for keeping those brain cells healthy.
Wow, that's actually pretty cool. Sounds like they're trying to cover all the bases with this formula. Let's see, they've also got Bacopa monnieri. It's an ancient herb they say has been used to improve memory. And then there's moringa, another antioxidant powerhouse, and neem for its detoxifying properties. Whew, that's a mouthful.
That's a whole lot of ingredients,
Okay.
which begs the question, do all these things, with all their supposed benefits, do they actually all work together? Or is this just a case of throwing everything in and hoping something sticks?
Right. Is there any synergy going on here, or is it just a random assortment of buzzy ingredients?
Right, exactly. And that's something we'll have to investigate further.
Yeah, that's a good point. I'm curious, from a scientific standpoint, how do they explain the way Pineal Guardian is supposed to work? What's the mechanism of action?
Okay, so the review, it breaks it down into 3 main mechanisms. They say it supports brain function, improves overall brain health, and reduces oxidative stress. And they link each ingredient to one or more of these mechanisms. For example, they highlight ginkgo biloba and Bacopa monnieri for memory, pine bark extract and lion's mane for brain health, and chlorella and spirulina for their antioxidant powers.
Okay, so they're claiming these ingredients are working on multiple levels to boost our cognitive function, but is that maybe a little oversimplified?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, don't get me wrong. These are all definitely areas of active research in neuroscience. But the reality is brain health, it's incredibly complex, right? There are so many factors involved, like your genetics, your lifestyle, your overall health. It's not as simple as popping a supplement and expecting, a miracle transformation.
Right. Yeah, it's definitely not a magic bullet or anything.
Definitely not. And that kind of leads us to another important point, the whole evidence thing.
Oh, right, the science.
Yeah, the science. Because some of these ingredients in Pineal Guardian, yeah, they've shown some promising results in certain studies.
Right.
But that doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to work the same way, when they're all mixed together in this specific formula.
So are you saying that just because they offer like a money-back guarantee, it doesn't actually mean that it works?
Yeah, basically. A money-back guarantee, it doesn't equal scientific proof, unfortunately.
That's a little unsettling.
Yeah, it's something to keep in mind for sure.
So what should we be looking for then? As consumers, how do we know if something is legit?
Okay, so ideally what you want to see are like robust clinical trials,
Okay.
specifically testing Pineal Guardian as a whole product.
Okay, it's not just the individual ingredients?
Exactly. Not just the individual ingredients, but like the whole shebang.
Gotcha.
And these trials, they need to be like randomized and controlled, so participants are randomly assigned to either get the supplement or a placebo.
Right, to make sure it's actually the supplement making the difference.
Exactly. And the study should involve a decent number of people too.
Right, not just like 5 people.
No, a statistically significant sample size.
Okay.
And they should use, like validated tests to measure actual cognitive performance.
Yeah.
So things like memory recall, attention span, processing speed.
So basically, we're looking for measurable improvements, right? We want to see actual data that shows this stuff is making a difference.
Exactly. Hard evidence. And, the review we have, it doesn't actually mention any independent studies specifically on Pineal Guardian as a whole product.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Which, and it's not that uncommon for supplements, but it is something to keep in mind. It kind of raises a little red flag.
It definitely makes you wonder if they're relying more on marketing hype than, actual science.
It's possible.
Okay, well, let's try not to be too cynical just yet.
Right.
There's still, got to hear them out.
Of course.
What about the price and that money-back guarantee? They talk about that a lot.
Okay, let's break that down. So Pineal Guardian, it comes in 3 different packages.
Yeah.
You've got the trial bottle, it's $59.
Okay.
Then there's the most popular package.
Okay.
It's 3 bottles for $49 each.
Great.
And then, of course, they have the best value package, which is 6 bottles for $39 each. Plus, you get free shipping with that one.
Oh, free shipping. Always a bonus.
Right. But did you notice how they emphasize that? Like 97% of customers choose the 6-bottle option.
Oh, yeah, I did see that.
Kind of makes you think, huh?
It's like they're trying to, subtly nudge you towards that bigger purchase.
Right. Like, everyone's doing it, you should too.
Jump on the bandwagon.
Classic marketing.
Yeah.
And then there's the 365-day money-back guarantee.
Yeah, they guarantee.
Sounds impressive at first, right? But honestly, these guarantees, they're pretty common in the supplement world.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's great that they offer it. But it's not necessarily like a foolproof sign that they're super confident in the product itself. You know what I mean?
Right. So it's not like a guarantee of effectiveness.
Yeah, more like a guarantee of their customer service, maybe.
Interesting.
You got to remember, even with that money-back guarantee, you can still end up wasting time and money if the product just doesn't work for you.
That's true. It's not just about getting your money back. It's about actually seeing results, right?
Exactly.
Now, I know a lot of people probably have questions about the practical stuff. Like, how do you actually take this stuff? Who is it for? And what if it doesn't work, aside from the money back guarantee? Does the review address any of that?
It does. It does. They recommend taking 1 drop daily.
Okay.
Preferably in the morning. And they say you can take it directly or add it to a drink if you prefer.
Oh, okay. Convenient.
Right. And they also talk about suitability. They say that because it's a natural formula, it's generally safe for most people. But of course, they do add the disclaimer that, it's always best to talk to your doctor before starting any new supplement, especially if you have any, pre-existing health conditions or if you're taking any medications.
Right. Always good to check with your doctor.
Yeah. Better safe than sorry. Especially when it comes to something as important as your brain.
Yeah, for sure.
And as for what to do if it doesn't work, well, they basically just say, refer to our 365-day money-back guarantee.
Right. Back to the guarantee.
But as we just discussed, that might not be as simple as it sounds, right?
Yeah, it's always a good idea to read the fine print, really understand the terms and conditions before you buy anything.
Always a good idea.
So, okay, we've covered a lot here.
Yeah.
The ingredients, the supposed science behind it, the pricing, the guarantee.
Right.
It seems like there's a lot to consider when it comes to this Pineal Guardian.
Definitely. It's not a simple decision.
And, I think one of the most interesting parts is something we haven't even really touched on yet.
Oh, yeah. What's that?
The name.
And the name, Pineal Guardian.
Pineal Guardian, yeah. Like, what's the deal with that? Why choose that name?
Well, okay, so the pineal gland, it's this tiny little gland in the brain.
Right.
And it produces melatonin.
Oh, right. The sleep hormone.
Yeah, the sleep hormone. It helps regulate our sleep-wake cycles.
Right. I've heard of that. But isn't it also, like, connected to some, more mystical stuff?
Exactly. Like in a lot of spiritual traditions, it's called the third eye.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I remember hearing about that.
Yeah, so it's often associated with things like spirituality and consciousness, and that's what makes the name Pineal Guardian so intriguing. Are they just, like, playing on that mystical connection for marketing purposes?
Right.
Or is there, like, a deeper meaning behind it,
Yeah, it almost feels like they're hinting at something more than just, like, the physical benefits.
Yeah, doesn't it? It's like they're tapping into this deeper human desire,
Yeah.
For something beyond just, like, better memory or focus.
Right, like a connection to something bigger.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that kind of brings us to like the heart of the matter, like what are people really searching for when they're drawn to a supplement like this? Is it really just about like a cognitive edge, or is there something more, a deeper longing for something, more meaningful?
Yeah, that's a good question. It seems like this deep dive is taking us way beyond just, science and marketing. We're getting into like philosophy and maybe even spirituality.
I think you're right. And that's what makes this so fascinating. We're not just like evaluating a product. We're exploring what it means to be human, our desire to understand and improve ourselves on like every level.
It's pretty amazing how a deep dive into a brain supplement can lead to these kinds of questions.
Right. It's wild.
But I guess that's what the deep dive is all about, right? Uncovering those hidden layers and exploring those unexpected connections.
Exactly. It's all about making those connections.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. It's amazing how like a deep dive into, brain supplements can lead us to these kind of like big existential questions.
It's true. It's all connected, isn't it?
It really is. But I guess that's what we do here on the deep dive, right?
That's what we're all about. Peeling back the layer.
Exactly. So before we wrap up our exploration of Pineal Guardian, let's bring it back to our listeners.
Right. Back to you guys.
So, you might be listening to all this and thinking, okay, this is all very interesting, but like, what does it actually mean for me?
Right. What's the takeaway?
Well, here's the thing. Pineal Guardian, it comes with a lot of promises, big promises.
Yeah, big claims.
But the evidence to back up those promises, the scientific evidence, it's still kind of lacking.
Yeah, it's just not quite there yet.
Right. And like we talked about, some of the individual ingredients, yeah, they've shown some potential in, certain studies.
In certain contexts.
Right. But there's no guarantee that they're going to work the same way when they're, all combined in this specific formula.
Exactly. And that money-back guarantee, yeah, it's appealing.
Oh, yeah.
But it shouldn't be the only thing you consider.
Right. It really comes down to, being an informed consumer.
Absolutely.
Do your research, read those labels, look into the studies, and maybe even, talk to your doctor before you start taking any new supplement, especially if you're, taking other medications or have any health concerns.
Always a good idea to consult with your doctor.
For sure. Now, I can't let us go without, circling back to that name one last time.
The name, Pineal Guardian.
Pineal Guardian, it's such a powerful name, and it feels like they're really intentionally playing with that mystical association, with the pineal gland.
Definitely. They're tapping into something there.
And, it raises this really interesting question. Is there connection between our physical brain health, keeping our brains healthy, and our spiritual well-being? Like, is there a link there?
It's a big question.
It's a big question. Could the pineal gland, which we know produces melatonin, regulates our sleep,
right?
Could it also be like a gateway to, higher states of consciousness?
Whoa, now we're getting deep.
I know, right? I'm not sure science has all the answers yet, but it's definitely a fascinating thing to ponder.
It really is. It makes you think.
It does. And it speaks to this growing interest in the connection between, mind, body, and spirit.
Yeah, this idea that it's all interconnected.
Right. That it's not just about optimizing one aspect of ourselves, but the whole picture. So if you're listening to this and you're curious about Pineal Guardian,
yeah,
I encourage you to do your own research. Look beyond the marketing. See what the science says.
See what the research tells you.
Exactly. And maybe even, take some time to think about that connection between the pineal gland and, that whole realm of spirituality.
Yeah, go with them a little bit.
It might lead you to some interesting insights. Who knows?
Well, that about wraps up our deep dive into Pineal Guardian for today.
That was a good one.
I know. It's always fun to, take a closer look at these these products that are making waves.
And to explore those bigger questions,
Exactly. And a big thank you to you, our amazing listeners, for joining us on this deep dive.
Thanks for listening, everybody.
We'll be back next week with another deep dive into a new topic, so make sure you subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss it. Until then, keep those minds curious and keep diving deep.